another edition of yet the 2-point conversion. We should put it like the late 2-point conversion, the off-hour 2-point conversion. Don't count on starting at 8. We're going to start like at like 8:15 or 8:10, always because of technical difficulties. So thank you for hanging in there with us if you have. And if you're listening to it later, then you don't really know what I'm talking about. So it's all good because you're just going to come right on. I am Gladys. Oh, and we lost Jay. I am Gladys Tyler. You can find me on Twitter at Gladys L. Tyler. And this is, I can't even do, oh, there we go.
And I'm Zach. Now at the Big Pulowski on Twitter. And we also have Jay. He was here. He disappeared. I'm sure he'll be right back.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Because he really wants to rant about Bengals and Father's Day and NBA free agents. I figured it out, and it took me a while, but I had some time on my hand today that Jay is like our NBA guy. Zach is like our, how do I put this? He's like our all around and know the stats guy, and I am the moderator, which I love being the moderator.
I was going to be heard if I wasn't included in the NBA part. So I was like, I have my Bucks banner.
Of course I was putting in the NBA part. So why Jay's not here, Zach is going to tell you all the wonderful things he's doing for you if you're in the Scott Fishbowl. And go.
I don't know how many things we can call wonderful about it, but right now I'm working on a Twitter thread really trying to break down the scoring format. I mean, it's a unique scoring format, so I'm trying to piece together and give examples of why the scoring's so different. But I can dive more into that later. We've got Jay back with us now.
Yay!
Goodness, I don't know what's going on. But
it was a full moon like 2 nights ago, so we'll just blame it on that. Because this is my laptop. My keyboard is not working on my big computer. And on my laptop, apparently I've been suspended from Twitter messages. So, but I can get them on my phone. I don't know what's going on with Twitter because I really don't cuss in Twitter messages. I'm really just happy in Twitter messages. So we'll see what's going on. Jay, how are you? Oh my God, I've lost you again.
I'm doing well. Yeah, I hear you guys.
Okay. Is your son there? Is that what's going on? Does he want to come on?
No, that's actually my wife causing the ruckus this time. She's walking around the phone. She has her speaker on.
She can come on.
Huh?
She can come on. We can talk
She's
about
been kicking it like all day today.
It's Juneteenth observation. You didn't have to go to work today, did you? Did you have to go to work? No.
I did.
It's Juneteenth holiday.
It was a federal holiday. I work for the state.
I'm pretty sure state employees in Denver didn't.
I know. I don't know. To work.
Did they pay you double? They should have paid you double. You get double time when you go to work? Oh, your salary. You're the big man. You're the man. I forgot. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh, they didn't.
That sucks. I had to go to work, but I work in a bar, so it was okay because there are a bunch of people just coming in. The best thing about working Monday in a bar is that you get the crowd that's leaving, like the ones that were here for the Avalanche game. And since this is a big sports town, you get the crowd that's leaving and they just want to drink and go, or the crowd that's coming in because they think the Avalanche are going to be here, Saturday? They're going to lose twice in Tampa and then be here Saturday. And so they want to get their rooms early. It's great. Monday's like the best day. Monday day is the best day to work at a bar. I'm just saying, in case you guys want to work at a bar. Monday day is the best day to do it. And Friday day. Maybe that's because only 2 days I work, but whatever. Anyway, Jay. Did I lose you again? I think we lost Jay again. This is so sad. So Zach, you and I'll just talk until Jay comes back on. Does he look like he's frozen? That's like a great, he's frozen in time. It's like a great side portrait. The thinking man. All right, Zach, so you are in the Scott Fishbowl, I assume?
Oh.
I hear you.
It's so choppy.
But it sounds broken.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
No.
Jay's having technical difficulties. I'm not sure why. I think it's because, I don't know. So, Zach,
Yeah.
go ahead. Inform us on the Scott Fishbowl, what you're doing. For people.
Right now, I mean, this is my first time ever in the Scott Fish Bowl, so I'm
Oh, congratulations.
pretty.
Yay. Are you
Thank
excited?
you. Yeah, I'm very
Okay.
excited. I'm in the Chicago live drafts, July 2nd.
Oh, that's not cool. Jay, that's you, babe. Okay, we'll let Jay figure that out. There he is. And he's back.
Yeah, I joined you guys from my cell phone. It looks like that's the only way I can come on.
That's okay. We'll take it. We'll take Jay any way we can get him. Thanks for joining us from your cell phone. And now you look like, before it was like a really classic portrait though. When you were frozen, you're like the thinking man. It was pretty awesome, I thought. But you know, that's how it is. All right. Just for a second, Jay, Zach is telling us what he's doing for the people that are in the Scott Fish Bowl that want to look at charts and stuff.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to make it more entertaining than just looking at charts. It's more
sorry.
just I know how boring it can be for some people, but it's more so trying to be informative as to what's actually worthwhile with your draft picks in the Scott Fish Bowl. I mean, like I mentioned, this is my first time, and I'm trying to get a gauge for like what's actually worthwhile in regards to where I should take QBs and that kind of stuff. And it's such a unique format where I essentially did all the calculations for what the performances of each quarterback last year would have had if it was the SFB 12 scoring format. And then I'm breaking it down, trying to explain like why there is such big differences for certain guys. And the reason why I say that is because like Trevor Lawrence in your standard fantasy football yearly league, he scored 216 fantasy points last year. With the SFB 12 format, 102, because his accuracy was so low and he barely had more touchdowns than interceptions. So some of the guys got murdered with this and other guys benefited a lot. So just trying to help people out in regards to what to be aware of when they're drafting some of these QBs in their SFB 12 drafts.
And at the end of every article I write, that is like the one thing, no matter who I'm writing it for, that I say, know what your league scoring is, because they're so different. And, you know, you're thinking, oh my God, Tom Brady's like the greatest. And he might be one of the few people that would transcend most, but you have to know, you know, if you're going to get penalized more for interceptions, if you're going to get penalized more for fumbles. That's just so important, and people overlook it so much when they're drafting. They just go for like the big names or the guys that they think are really starry and are gonna, you know, shine. You play Dynasty a lot, though, don't you, Jay?
I do as well. Yeah.
Oh, do you?
I do.
So the Dynasty scoring, does it if you're in a Dynasty league, does your scoring change from year to year, or does it stay the same?
That's the consistent. Okay. But I think the most scary part for me is, you know, I'm mainly in Dynasty leagues, so I'm looking at guys like Trevor Lawrence, like a Zach Wilson, where I'm really excited about the upside over this coming season, their second year, and then the third year, and so on. But when I'm looking at SFB 12, and you know, I've been trying to get those guys in a lot of leagues. I don't think I can do it in that league, because just seeing how brutal they were at scoring, I expect progression, but I mean, I always say year 3 is when we can really evaluate QBs. And while I think there'll be a step in the right direction, I don't think it'll be really worthwhile enough for me to try and pursue them in this.
So let me ask you.
The problem with Trevor Lawrence, if you have Trevor Lawrence anywhere in Dynasty, is that you're stuck with him, right? Because if you're trading him at low values, and he was the unanimous #1 overall. And he's just not playing to that level right now. So you have to kind of almost wait for him to start off hot, make a determination on whether or not you believe that that's real or not, and then try to regain value back by trading him.
So let me ask you both this, because you both play Dynasty. When you're playing Dynasty, are you playing for, let's say this year? Are you playing for this year? Or are you playing for 2 years out? Or are you playing for a year out?
It depends on the league. I mean, I'm in 12 dynasty leagues right now, and I've got
A lot of leagues.
I mean, 9 of them I'm competing. Some of them are more favorable than others, where I'm expecting to be one of the big dogs in the playoffs. But then I've got
Right.
a couple where, like one's a Devy league where I've got Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, all these big name college guys that I'll be able to get points from next year or the year after, but they're nothing more than a name right now. And so it just depends. Sometimes I like to have a balance. Some I want to rebuild, some I want to just try and be aggressive with the older guys. It's all situational, though. Sometimes you just can't get your guys in a draft, or sometimes you take over a team and it's just in a rough spot.
Jay, how many dynasty leagues are you in?
I'm in 3.
And do you play for this year, or are you playing for like 2 years out from now?
It depends on what the current team is. Like one, I have orphan that I took over. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to accumulate as many assets as I possibly can, outside of taking a running back, because I think that that's going to be like the last piece of when you're finally ready to compete is when you start looking for running backs. And so I pretty much traded all of my good running backs for picks, assets, and wide receivers, and you can just throw more darts at. But if you're competing, right, you want to definitely, because in Dynasty people tend to undervalue veterans, and that's how
Okay.
you win a championship. I think in Dynasty you get that perfect combination of a few young players, but the vets are what take you there. So it's always Dynasty creates an interesting theme because you always have people that are going to be playing for future. They're draft picks. People love
Right.
draft picks. They get really excited about that, and then you got the teams that are competing that are just picking off good players by selling draft picks like the Rams.
And it's tricky too with age as well, because that shifts valuations. Running backs in dynasty leagues are essentially treated as dead when they hit 27. And I mean, you want to, like, say it's Javonte Williams. He's a young upcoming guy. Obviously, Melvin's back where he's going to steal some of the workload. But I mean, his value is higher than a lot of those 25, 26-year-old guys that we expect to actually have a better year than Javonte. I mean, the Nick Chubbs, the Joe Mixon, some of those guys. But it's always tricky in that regard. Um, I always try to win year one, as you said.
So
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm in Kyle's dynasty, and that is the only dynasty league I'm in. Although I think last year I was in Scott Fish's Capitalist Pig League, and I'm pretty sure it was a dynasty league, although I didn't play it as a dynasty because I took an orphan team. But so at the end of the draft, everyone assumed I was drafting for future because I had a lot of rookies, but I wasn't. I'm not going to lie. I was just drafting to do well, which clearly I did not. Thanks, Kyle, for bringing that up. But I might have a good team this year because I had a couple of really good rookies, but they played good last year. You know what I mean? And then we have a draft coming up, and I have no idea. I mean, I think like, these guys are really aggressive, as in doing what Jay said. Like, they want to get draft picks. So last year at the end of the year, the B League and G were just like trying to get people for draft picks, which I don't get, because you don't know how good someone's going to be in the next year.
Right. Yeah. You take the proven player, but that's what Dynasty does. There's always that hope, right? Everybody has a chance. But I do like Kyle's strategy. Is actually a really good strategy in Dynasty and startups, because you're going to always get the veterans that are going to be undervalued. And you can really build a pretty solid team if you just commit to going that route and, letting everybody else stumble over the draft picks.
Well, I didn't. He traded away his first 06 and missed the playoffs. I wasn't even
That's
anywhere
tough.
near the playoffs. Like, I couldn't even smell the playoffs from where I was in that league. I was like, way up, way down there.
I usually find myself doing what Kyle's referencing, though, and a few of the startups I've done this year. I want to get those QBs, but I'm usually not picking top 5 or 6. So I'm not getting the big name younger guys, and therefore I end up waiting, trying to get a Derek Carr, a Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, a lot of the, like Tom Brady, I mean, he's about to be 45, but I mean, I can get him way later than some of these other guys. And it's like, all right, cool. I can win now and I can address that next year.
So in Dynasty, is there a position that is more valuable than any other position?
Depends on how many teams are in your league.
And most of them play super flex. So if it's super flex, then definitely you're going to need quarterback there.
Yeah, quarterback and then probably running back, but it's tricky because, like, for example, I'm in 2 16-team leagues for Dynasty. One is super flex and one isn't. So in the super flex, that's 32 QBs right there if everyone's got 2 in their lineup. And usually you're not that lucky because someone got greedy or somehow got their hands on a third one. And so those are at a real high premium, but also same thing with running backs there. With 16 teams, 32 running backs spread out. It's not going to be divided out perfectly, and someone's starting some really questionable running backs.
How many, Jay, and in your 3 teams, is it 12 teams, 16 teams? I don't think I've ever played a 16-team league.
All of them are 12 teams. So I joined the new one, which is a salary cap dynasty where they use real life NFL salaries.
Oh my God.
It's
a lot of work.
Is it full?
No, I just joined it. And we haven't even drafted yet. So I'm looking into that. That one should be fun. I've been wanting to do that one for a long time.
Were you using so what's your salary cap? Do you know yet or no?
It's the actual NFL salary cap. It's a website. I found a website that does it. They have the proprietary information to use the real life NFL salaries.
That just seems like a lot of work.
Not for me because their app does all of that, right? So I mean, it does factor into trades and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
I want to try this out. This sounds fun.
Yeah,
I like that kind of stuff. Reminds me of Madden.
I've never played Madden, so I don't really know what people are talking about. But I've done an auction draft, and I agree with Kyle. I would do an auction draft.
I like auction drafts where you use it where the salary actually matters. But that's work though, because you got to keep track of that.
I've only done that for baseball. I haven't done that for football.
Wait. Say that again, Jay. You have to keep track of what?
The contract values.
Like the lengths over time, or if
your
leagues have it set up where there's an increase.
Like that.
It wasn't a dynasty auction draft. It was a redraft auction draft.
No.
Oh, redraft auction is the best.
Yeah. It was like, that was no work. I was like, maybe I was doing it wrong. But yeah, it wasn't a dynasty. It was a redraft auction draft. All right. I'm sorry. I have monopolized. Jay, what's your thing with the Father's Day? What's going on there, buddy?
Man, my Father's Day. First of all, I actually had a pretty good Father's Day. My wife made sure that I had a good one. We went out to dinner, but my thing with Father's Day is that it's a day that can easily slip by people. You're not missing Mother's Day. All of the money is spent in the advertising. We make this big grand thing. The kids are doing like paper mache cards and all this type of stuff. And I get a little colored suit and tie, card. We go out to dinner on Saturday night. We were at like Joe's Crab Shack, and it was like nobody there.
Oh, really?
On Mother's Day, on Mother's Day, you got like a 5-hour wait. It's just crazy.
Well, it also fell this year. Father's Day fell on Juneteenth, so here there were a lot of like outdoor activities. Like a lot of the restaurants weren't full, but it was in Juneteenth celebration too. So, I'm trying to make excuses. I don't know. I don't know why people don't celebrate Father's Day. But I'm watching. I was watching the College World Series, and that's all they talked about on the College World Series were fathers and their sons and daughters playing baseball. So maybe you're just like in the wrong venue for that Father's Day thing.
Plus, I got ripped off. I got ripped off because the Boston Celtics didn't uphold their end of a deal and give me a Game 7 on Father's Day.
Oh, that would have been on Father's Day, the Game 7?
Yes.
That would have been kind of awesome.
And now that's how you do it. Like it was Joe. That's the running joke. My wife teased me a couple of years ago because I'd rather just everybody just get out of the house. Let me sit in my underwear, watch Game 7.
Our picks, though, we made our picks. I got my Warriors.
Got the
One,
Warriors. I should have never changed, but I got duped.
I
You did get duped.
had to
They-
stay strong. They tempted me to waver on it. They really did. Those first couple of games by the Warriors, they tempted me to just not be as confident with it. But I'm like, if anyone can figure it out. Even though I didn't like the aspect of them just constantly being like, we know what to do. It's like, okay, don't talk about it. How about you just go out there and do it?
Andrew
finally-
Wiggins and Draymond Green. Really, Draymond Green was amazing in that game. So he was all over the place.
Game 5
And I just think
6.
that the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum just has to play better. I think that this was the series that's going to turn the boy into a man, and we'll see, because he completely went ghost.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of that had to do with Draymond Green too. I only watched the second half because I can only watch the second half of professional basketball games because I don't know why. It's annoying to watch the first half because and this series was a great example. Like a team would be up like 30 points in the first half and then lose it in the second half. But I thought it was an interesting game, even though I'm not a huge NBA person, and the fact that there was no time that I watched it that I thought Boston was going to win that game. There was not a point in that game that I thought, they might come back from this.
Curry did his ring count in the third quarter. He already knew it was over.
He already knew. I know.
Yeah.
It was yeah. Jay, I think that's to you. At least you had a great US Open finish on Father's Day, which is golf. I'm guessing. So Kyle is the only one who watches every friggin' sport.
Kyle watches every sport. Yeah, he watches every sport. And he's a borderline expert in all of them too.
I know, right? He knows stats in every single sport. But I mean, that's great. So I totally stupid when I've talked to him, but that's okay. All right, what about your NBA free agents?
Ooh, so I every year they hype up NBA free agency, but I don't know if we're going to see a lot of movement, unfortunately. I think that because you look at the big fish. Who's the big fish, right? I think it's Bradley Beal.
It was, or he's expected to resign, and then Levine as well, but he already is looking. Or it's looking like he's about to finalize his deal with the Bulls to stay there.
Right, yeah, and so that's the two biggest. Those are my two highest ranked players right there. Bradley Beal says that he's already made up his mind. Decisions made. Says that it will be contingent. He wanted to stay with the Wizards as long as they're placing a winning team there. But he's already made up his mind. So if you've already made up your mind and free agency hasn't started yet, I think that you have 250 million reasons why you're coming back to Washington. He's going to say all of the great things. I would like, this. He wants to try to, drag it out, but nobody else can pay him the money that the Wizards can. And you just think about logistically just how that's going to work for Bradley Beal. I just think he stays with Washington because the teams with the most cap space wouldn't be better. He can go to Portland, he can go to Indiana, but I just don't see that. I think that he's going to stay with Washington and take that money. 5 years, $250 million. That's a lot of money.
He's taking it, but he's gone next year. Yeah. But the whole thing is, it's all guaranteed. But with him, he's saying, hey, you better put a winning team around me because otherwise I'm demanding a trade. And in 2023, you trade me. That's
right.
Okay.
So the talk is that he wants to play with Jason Tatum, who's like his childhood best friend. But Boston can't. How is Boston going to trade for him? They'd have to give up.
They would have to give up Brown.
Yeah, they'd have to give up Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart just to start that offer. And a number of draft picks.
Supposed to go to the 76ers before he got hurt. That deal was in place, and instead of James Harden, he was supposed to go there, and he got hurt, and that's where the deal didn't go through.
Right.
Okay, here's my question. If he gets a $250 million guaranteed contract, and then after the first year he decides he wants to be traded, doesn't the team he's getting traded to have to take over that contract?
Yeah. But
are you assuming that that all teams can afford your contract? Or are you going to take like a what they call in football, like the home field advantage, and not have them pay as much?
In the NBA, I think they have to be within. I think it's 12% of the salary. So salaries have to actually match.
They have to
for a
match
trade.
it.
That
So he's not going anywhere. He unless he uses his leverage now, right? Because he has the player contract now. So this would be the time for him to use his leverage, because
Okay.
he literally can tell the Wizards, "Hey, look, I'm not coming back. I'm not going to take my player option. So sign me and trade me now. Otherwise, I'm just gonna exercise my option for 1 year, and then you lose me for nothing next year." I don't see that happening. I don't think he's walking away from $250 million coming up on his
That's a lot of money
29th
to walk
birthday,
away from.
which is a week from tomorrow. He'll be turning 29. I don't think his
And-
wifey is allowing that money out the house like that.
The thing you have
Well,
to be
what's he making
mindful. Probably I
He's
believe.
guaranteed this year is 36
28.
million guaranteed this year.
No,
Oh,
but you
wow.
have to be mindful of it as well with the NBA. There's a lot of these teams, like a Portland, for example, where say they can't get that big fish this summer, they can sign 2, 3, 4 guys that equal 45 million. They're all making 10 million a year, and say those are guys that are decently respected and could be viewed as some sort of gain on the other end, or that it's a short-term deal. Because the NBA, it's all about expiring deals. That's what teams that are losing want to gain back, because then they're getting salary cap sooner. So with someone like Bradley Beal, if he demands a trade next year, someone like Portland could be like, hey, here's 4 of these guys we don't really value that much. This equals roughly the same amount of salary, and then also here's our draft picks. And then in return, they can pair Beal with Lillard.
Yeah,
All right, so
exactly.
what do you guys think of Kyle's? Is the NHL free agency better than the NBA free agency? I don't know.
No, because we talk about NBA free agency. One thing the NBA does is they play up their product a lot, right? And they create a lot of entertainment value and the suspense and the drama of it.
They embrace the personalities.
Right. Yeah, they build up the personalities. And that's been a model that's worked for the NBA since Commissioner Stern came in. So the problem with the NBA free agency is that the big fish aren't going to move, right? Bill's not going to move. Zach LaVine's going to stay with the Bulls. Harden's going to stay with the 76ers. Kyrie Irving's going to stay with the Nets. But then you look at the interesting things with the NBA free agency is that the biggest stories are going to be what happens to DeAndre Ayton, Miles Bridges, and then who's going to overpay for Jalen Brunson.
Okay, I think we have a disagreement on the Kyrie Irving statement.
Did you see what Shams reported today?
No.
There is some trouble in paradise on Kyrie Island. And
Kyrie Island.
He's probably going elsewhere.
If Kevin Durant is saying that?
I mean, yeah, Kevin Durant is direct. No, Kyrie is saying that. But
because the Brooklyn Nets are going to do what Kevin Durant says, and Kevin Durant likes Kyrie Irving, and I just don't see how anybody else is going to be interested in paying him that kind of money. He's now on the other side of 30. He's played 100. He's played 103 games in the last 3 years.
Think about it this way, though. The Lakers right now are paying Westbrook essentially the same amount of money, and wouldn't you rather have Kyrie there than Russ? I mean, I don't think it's necessarily possible, because unless there's a third team willing to take on Westbrook's contract.
See, I'm more of when it comes to Westbrook, I'm more of what you just talked about with the expiring deal. You can't trade Westbrook now, but Westbrook is an expiring deal next year, right? So you can possibly get something for him at the trade deadline where you're not going to get anything for him now.
But the tricky part is it's going to be usually a sum of parts at the trade deadline. You're not getting another $35 million guy. And plus, like for the Nets, at least, they're KD's there. They want to compete. They're not going to take Russ and sit on an expiring for a bit. They're trying to win right now. KD's aging. He's got an injury history. So whenever he's healthy, they have to capitalize.
If all things were equal, though, Zach, if we're just talking about playing basketball, give me Kyrie Irving. But he doesn't play basketball. He played 20 games, and he's averaging 34 games a season.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I used to love Kyrie, and I'm not a fan anymore. So you don't. I I enjoy it from a viewing perspective. It's entertaining, but I love his talent, but I wouldn't want him on my roster. It's scary. You know, there's certain teams that are exciting fits, but I don't know when he's going to be on the court and how long. But I know the free agents aren't necessarily the big part, but I'm paying attention to a lot of potential trades this offseason. Utah, Rudy Gobert has likely played his last days in
Oh
Utah.
yeah,
Plenty of
possibly
fits.
even Donovan Mitchell. Even
Yeah,
they may end up losing both of those guys.
I think Utah is going to pick one, and I would assume it's Mitchell. But I wish that Dallas didn't trade for Christian Wood because I would have loved Gobert next to Luca because of Luca's pick and roll usage. He's so efficient. I mean, he made Willie Cauley-Stein, DeAndre Jordan, a lot of these guys that were past their prime are just not really well high regarded look good because of how we use them in the pick and roll. So if you put someone like Rudy in there, it would have been the perfect fit.
The
But
Christian Wood trade was very perplexing for me because I thought that there would be a team that would be interested in DeAndre Ayton. Um,
yeah,
it's clear as day that Phoenix is not
oh,
signing
he's
DeAndre.
done. He's
He's
done.
done there.
It'll be a sign and trade though.
Yeah, it's a sign and trade. Where do you think the sign and trade is going? Because I think a sign and trade is going to happen with Charlotte. I think that both of those teams are going to sign and trade those guys. I think Bridges is going to sign with Charlotte and be traded to the Suns, and then
Oh,
the
with his
Suns will
brother.
give back Aiton. Yeah, well, that's not his brother.
Oh yeah. And yeah. No, I think it's between Portland and Charlotte for me. Because I could see Portland as well. They have a few expirings. They have a few guys that could be serviceable pieces around Paul and Booker. It's concerning though right now with where the Suns are at because I think Aiton is a major piece of that well-oiled machine. Like I'm surprised that they're not willing to pay. And I mean, I'm frustrated that the Bucks weren't willing to pay someone like PJ Tucker last year. Look at the Warriors; they're way in the luxury tax, and they have no issue with it because they're like, "Hey, we want to
The
win."
luxury tax can be justified when you're winning championships, right? So
Yep. And the Warriors are the dream franchise for fans, where they're willing to pay that price. They're getting into a tricky spot too, though, because I believe they're going to have to pay Draymond. Clay's still getting a lot. Wiggins is about to be up for a deal. Curry's making a lot. They're going to be at 180 million. I was listening to a podcast today. I believe 180 million off of 7 or 8 guys. And yeah, I mean, you still have 7 more roster spots. So I don't know where they find that in the repeater tax as well. If you're in the luxury tax, you have to pay more each year you're in it. So they're going to get really high up there real quick.
yeah, that the NBA's luxury tax with the punitive thing that really hurts teams probably around that third year where they start really factoring in if it's worth it or not.
Okay. My head hurts because of the basketball talk. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, sure. Zach, what did you decide you wanted to talk about? Did you decide?
Well, I wanted to pay a little bit of a tribute to someone in baseball. I mean, I know you two are the biggest baseball fans alive, so but it was the end of an era for someone on the Brewers. Lorenzo Kane. He was a
Okay.
longtime center fielder, won a World Series with the Royals. He was a part of he started his career for the Brewers. He got traded in a major trade, ended up winning a World Series there, and then they paid him a lot of money to come back. Well, we ended up just waiving him, or essentially baseball's version of it, on the day he hit his 10-year of service time in the MLB mark, because
That sucks.
I mean, it was a mutual agreement. He won Gold Gloves. He had a lot of home run robberies over his career. He used to be a great great guy at stealing bases, but he was batting 179 this year. Couldn't even get on
Ooh.
base. Yeah, he could catch balls, but he wasn't getting on base at all. And I mean, we were paying him, I want to say, 10 million, which might not sound like a lot after our NBA salary conversation, but for baseball and a small market team that has a like a total salary of about 100 million. He was making a large chunk of it, and yeah, they waived him. They're parting ways, and I'm pretty sure if he doesn't get picked up, this is probably him retiring. But
Yeah. I used him one time this year. He came in. Christian Yelich was a late scratch for DFS, and Lorenzo Kane came in for 2,200. I'm like, okay, well, how the mighty have fallen.
Now you know why it's only 2,200.
he used to be an all-star. He used to be
No,
a
he was
lot of
good.
fun, and now, yeah, it was brutal to watch this year. It was, and the Brewers are a competing team, so you know I was watching their game tonight. That I believe 47% of their runs scored this year are off of home runs. They don't get on base a lot, but when they do, they score with home runs.
So they
And
got some pretty nasty home run splits then, huh?
yeah, they have power and they have one of the best pitching staffs, but they have shit hitters for the most part. If they can't hit it out of the ballpark, they're not usually getting on base.
So they're the
Did both-
Dodgers from 4 years ago.
Did both
That
of
would
you
be-
play DFS in baseball?
I've played a little bit of it in every sport. I'm not too familiar with the DFS. I don't keep up with it the same way as some people, but I dabble in it. I have some fun
Some
with
people
it.
named Jay, is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, I
Say
won.
it out
Well,
loud.
see, baseball was I won my first DFS tournament in baseball.
Congrats.
Yeah, that was years ago. I haven't, but yeah, I won it in baseball. You know why? Because baseball kind of works with you kind of want to stack up your players, right, and try to get the order up in there. And I don't get in my own way with baseball because I don't know the game that well. Like basketball, I get in my own way. Football, I get in my own way like all the time. But baseball is actually my most profitable DFS sport. But I don't have the time to play DFS anymore because the daily, I just don't have the time available anymore.
See, I don't do the DFS. I do the Dynasty and the yearly leagues for football, basketball, baseball, and then I do salary type leagues for baseball.
You're in
And that's,
fantasy in all those three sports? You play
yeah,
fantasy in all those
I've got rankings for all of the three.
Okay, so you play fantasy all year round, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the heat of my Dynasty team's not doing too great right now in one league, but I mean, it's a young team. I have
Jesus.
the guy with the most stolen bases in baseball, J-Rod for the Mariners. I mean, 22, I believe. I've got a whole bunch of young guys, but you know, it's the long, slow grind until they're actually producing. But
You mean you don't have Jackie? You don't have Jackie on your team?
Nope. I can't believe that. I can't believe you said that either. No.
Okay, so if you had, and we'll get to the Bengals in a second, Jay, but for the DFS players, what is your one piece of advice? I'm making a lineup in DFS. Let's see, you play, let's go DFS football for Jay, and DFS baseball for Zach, or vice versa. I forgot who played which, because you guys all play.
Well, I played a lot of DFS baseball, and so for me, it depends on the site, right? Because FanDuel is one pitcher,
right,
and they pay more. They give you more points for the win. But I like hitters because you're going to win a tournament with hitters. Okay, you're going to win a cash game with pitching, but you're going to win a tournament with hitters. And so I would pay up for the bats where I can, and then check the value pitching. And you can just keep it pretty straight to the vest. I just look at the Vegas odds, see who's favored, who's the cheapest one of the favored pitchers, and then I go there.
And this is on FanDuel?
Yeah, because it's a one pitcher site. On DK, DK uses two pitchers, so you definitely want to have, because you got to have two of them. You probably want to spend up one of them, get at least one good ace there, and then try to fill out your roster there. But I only play FanDuel.
And that's why I like salaries in baseball, and same with DFS, is kind of putting a price to the production. I mean, baseball, the Moneyball approach can be applied a lot more in a fantasy
you're talking football
sense.
though, but you're going to do DFS football.
Okay. For football, what would you like to know? Where do you want me to start? I mean,
What would be your best advice to someone who is playing DFS football?
try to study your matchups, and
Wait, are you
usually
playing DraftKings or FanDuel?
I do both. I mean, it just
Okay.
depends on the week, depends on the promotions, really.
Okay.
Or who I'm specifically targeting for more of my sleeper guys. If I'm trying to stack up on the big names and then get some low guys, I'll see where they're priced on both, and if they're a little cheaper on one compared to the other, I'll do that platform that week. But I mean, for me, with football specifically, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of wide receivers and trying to get them for cheap. And sometimes tight ends as well. I mean, I'm sure at the beginning of this year, I'll be doing Cole Kmet a lot at tight end because I think he's a lot higher on my boards than he is on everyone else's. So I think I can get him at a fairly cheap salary. But otherwise, like quarterback, you usually want to be aggressive. And don't get in your own way, like Jay was talking about. I mean, there's a lot of times where I'll look at, say, the Bengals play the Jags, and you see this easy opportunity for them to put up 35, 40, and then I end up convincing myself, oh, they'll be up 28-0 in the start of the third. They'll do one more drive, and then it's the backups.
Right. And
Well,
then
I don't.
you got to remember, how did they get up 28-0? It's probably because Joe Burrow put that work in.
Yeah, exactly. Just try not to get in your own way and overanalyze what that exact scenario you're envisioning happens. Like if you think they're going to score a lot and they're going to win, that's all you need to think about. And I'm sorry for my cat meowing in the background.
Oh, is that your cat?
Yeah, she's friendly and
She's sitting on the thing. Is that her? Oh, yeah, I saw
no.
her. Okay.
Oh no, she's
Jay.
right here.
Where is she? Jay, Bengals. What did you want to talk about? The Bengals. Oh.
It's not really the Bengals. It's the question of who's going to be this year's Bengals.
I'm saying Detroit Lions. I'm sticking with that.
You're sticking with it.
Wavering. I am not wavering.
Here's my Bengal. That's actually her breed, but
no, the Lions actually will meet the requirement, right? They have to be a bad team beforehand. They have to have the ability to sneak up and win the division and ultimately make a Super Bowl run, and nobody has to see it coming.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I thought you were crazy when you first said that.
Thank you.
But the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, it's got a little bit of traction there.
I'm telling you, it's going to have a lot of traction. If they can get, what's his face on the field, Williams, which I don't think they will. I mean, if he does, it's going to be the second half of the season. But I don't care. I am saying they like to play for their coach. They play hard.
They were competitive. They were competitive last season.
They don't suck, and they did okay in the draft. I am sticking with the Detroit Lions. I put money on them. I'm sticking with them.
My this year's Bengals, for me, I'm going to actually stay in division. No, it's not going to be your team. I think it's going to be the Baltimore. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be this year's Bengals. You look at that team, right? They were what was their record? 8-9. And they started off 5-2 right at the bye week, and then they went on this nasty streak. They got hurt. They lost their last 6 games. Yeah, and so you get Lamar Jackson, back. He's going to be healthy. J.K. Dobbins. They had an amazing draft. I think they're going to get Lamar taken care of with the contract situation, so that's not going to be a distraction. And I think that when we look at some of the games that the Ravens lost, that they easily could have won, I think that a lot of those games go their way this year. The Raiders game, that's a win, next year. They should have beaten the Rams. They should have beaten the Vikings. And so you're talking about a team that wasn't that good that should have won 11 games. And I think that now, just retool in the draft, I think that while everybody's high on the Bengals, I think that the Ravens are going to actually go ahead and win a division. And I think that they can get hot and they can make a Super Bowl run.
What do you think about the wide receiving core?
It sucks.
Yeah, this is true. So,
but they have Andrews, and that's all they really need. And the Ravens recipe is run the ball, and play great defense. And so they spent Yeah, they spent a lot of draft capital and the defense there. I just think that when you're talking about a team that has the ability to get hot, when Lamar is good, when Lamar is healthy, I mean, he's the best player on the field in a lot of games that he's going to play in. So
Right.
the boring
Okay.
answer to that would be the Colts, but I'm going to say the Ravens.
That was rude. You didn't have to call my answer boring.
Way to go, Jay. Is that who you're picking, the Colts? Zach? Why?
They needed a quarterback.
Yeah.
They got him. They got Matt Ryan. I mean, I was about to transition with asking Jay how he was describing the Ravens' style of winning, running the ball and defense. And I mean, that's what the Colts have. They just needed someone that didn't make stupid mistakes and could game manage. Matt Ryan, I know he hasn't been the same for a few years, but Atlanta had a rough offensive line. They're asking him to do a lot. They had a bad defense. I mean, it was just a bad team, so there wasn't really too much he could do. But you put him in behind this great offensive line with a workhorse running back, Michael Pittman. They brought in Alec Pierce. They've got some tight ends I like. That defense is great. I mean, they have an easy division, so I'm expecting them to not be too stressed during the regular season, but I wouldn't be surprised if because of that division they get a bye, while teams like all those favorites in the AFC West, I mean, you can make a case for any of the four of them. They're going to be beating each other up, hurting each other's records, and other teams in weaker divisions like the Colts or even the Ravens are going to be able to thrive and get those higher seeds. So
The Steelers are in that division too, the Baltimore Ravens division. So
They are.
I just don't want you to
Yeah.
forget that,
Yeah, but they
We're still
drafted
there.
Kenny Pickett. They
Yeah,
drafted Kenny Pickett, so
they've got
You know what? I don't think Pickett's going to play this year. I honestly think they're going to stick with Trubisky.
I wish
wow.
I
really
wish
do.
they just didn't take Pickett.
I wish they wouldn't have taken him that high. I mean, I would have been okay if they took him like in the third round or something because he would have lasted that long. But from all I'm hearing out of the Steelers camp, I honestly think Trubisky's going to start and play the whole season.
Do you?
I
have an important question for you, Gladys.
I love important questions.
As the big Steeler backer here, is Chase Claypool a top 3 wide receiver like he claimed he is today?
Yeah, I saw that. He said Chase Claypool could be a top 3 wide receiver. He has the potential, but no, he's currently not a top 3 wide receiver. I wouldn't even put him in the top 5, top 10, maybe top 12, but no, he's not. He loses concentration, I think is what it is. Like he's
not even the best receiver on his team.
Right. I thought it was bold of him to say, I thought maybe he was concussed when he was given that interview because he was the third best running back or the third best wide receiver last year on his team behind
Is that
Juju.
what he said?
No, he was saying how he thinks he's the third best top 3 in the league. And I'm looking at him like, you were the third best on your team last year.
Was he even the third best on the team? No.
I mean, Juju.
Deontay?
Yeah.
I would even put
fire move.
Fire move ahead of him. So,
I don't know if I can get that carried away with it.
Oh, come on. Fireman had a great season. And a lot of it was because of Roethlisberger not being able to throw the ball down the field. But still, he had a great season last year. He's in my dynasty. I drafted him. I'm not going to lie. I drafted him early, too, apparently, according to the other boys. But I drafted Fireman. And I drafted another rookie. And I drafted Jameis Winston. My team's going to be hot this year. I don't care what anyone says. My dynasty team's on fire. They're going to be on fire. So when I'm drafting dynasty this year, apparently we're doing a draft next month. Kyle, is that right? Who am I drafting? I'm drafting like rookies?
Yep.
I don't want rookies. I don't want any. There's no one in that class I want on my team.
There's the best wide receiver of all time, Christian Watson. No.
Oh my God. I can't believe you said that.
Man, at least he planted his flag on it and he stayed consistent with it. I'll give him that. Wait, did you guys join the zombie league that Jeff put together?
We already talked about this. I am afraid of zombies. I'm not afraid of zombie league.
Yeah,
Zombies
I'm in that
are
league.
the one thing that scares me. Are you okay? Tell me what a zombie league is.
So it's a alternate scoring format that Jeff put together. This is kind of the trial period to work out the kinks. I know he was trying it last year. I'll pull it up. I mean, one
But
team
why is
just
it called Zombie? Why is it called the
so
Zombie League?
so essentially in the draft, I believe I don't remember who it was that got elected the zombie, but they didn't draft anyone. They get first dibs at waivers, and then once they beat a team, that team's infected, and it just keeps going where you're trying to.
If they don't draft anyone, how are they gonna have a team?
I mean,
They pick
the
the waivers.
they get all
Yeah.
the waivers, and so
Okay.
essentially,
Yeah,
with
no.
it's a different lineup configuration as well. I mean, it is a super flex, but it's not a mandatory start at QB. But you think about it, say like an Elijah Mitchell last year, or some of those other guys that weren't very prominent names in the off season. They got claimed in waivers, and then they were super productive. So there's chances in that regard. I mean, some teams are going to be tough to beat. I'm feeling good about my team. I don't know what zombie's coming after me because
What do you have, Jay? How are you feeling? You're in that league,
Well,
right?
we haven't drafted yet, right?
Oh, no, I mean, my zombie, the zombie league I'm in, we drafted already.
Oh no, he started. Well, he started a new one. I
Oh.
thought that's when I saw that Kyle was in that one. As well.
Kyle's in yours?
The problem with the zombie league is that everybody wants to be the zombie, though, right? That's where the fun seems like it's at.
I mean, okay, the first week, are you a zombie the first week, or do you have to wait till week 2 before your zombie status kicks in?
So from the way I understand it, right, is that he manipulated it so that there's 10 teams in the league.
Oh, okay. That makes
Right?
a bit more- Right.
Yeah.
But you manipulate it so that the last one team doesn't get the draft.
Okay.
Okay, and so all of the other teams are going to draft. They're going to draft the players, and then the zombie is going to basically pick their team
Anyone?
from what was left over. Anyone that was left
anyone on
over.
waiver? Ooh.
Yeah,
And there's also IDPs, which
IDPs as well. Yeah,
that's the big
Nice.
moneymaker there, because with only 2 IDP slots per team and a lot of really productive IDP guys, I mean, they'll be able to get their hands on guys that'll be able to contribute for them right away in that regard.
Who's the
But-
zombie in your league, Zach?
In my league, let me check. Foss.
Oh.
Foss. Yeah.
By the way,
Hey.
shout out to Jeff. Happy birthday, man.
When's Jeff's birthday?
Yep. It's today.
How do you guys know this?
Oh,
Facebook.
I
Is
saw
this
it on
like
Twitter.
a bro club? Is that what it is? Is this like a bro club and all the bros know it? You know, like females don't get to know that it's his birthday. Whatever.
I get
Jeff.
I get all the alerts on Facebook, so I saw it that it was his birthday today.
Oh.
No, I'm feeling
you
good
know?
about my zombie team now. I saw it on Twitter in one of the Going for Two group chats.
Oh, Jesus, those chats are like when I come on, there's like 50 messages. So I just scrolled to the end always because I don't know. But I'm sorry. Happy birthday, Jeff. I hope you're having a good time. I mean, it's after Father's Day. You have 2 days in a row that you get to celebrate. There you go. There you go, Jay. When's your birthday? What month?
My birthday's in July,
Oh.
July 27.
Oh, that's late July. Zach,
Yeah,
when's
late
yours?
July.
August 18th.
Okay. None of them are close. My sister's is July 9th, and my nephew's is July 1st, which I think is ridiculous to have 2 birthdays in the same family that close, because that's a lot of presents that you have to buy. But at least it's not Christmas, right? All right. Jay. Oh, no. Let's do Zach first. Zach, did you do your rant? Was your rant the...
No, I got a different
Okay.
rant. I'm
Let's
ready
go.
though. All right.
Go.
So, in honor of my Bucks, last year's champions were no longer the reigning champs. But, you know, the start of this NBA Finals, I got to hear all about how Steph Curry, this is the best performance in a finals we've ever seen since LeBron. It lasted 2 games. He had a great series. He helped lead them to victory. But it's like Giannis is dead. They just forgot about the fact that my boy put up 35 points a game in the series. He dropped a 50-piece in Game 6. He had all these crazy clutch plays. And they just forgot about him. It's just Steph Curry. It's LeBron. Oh, forget about that guy in Milwaukee. He's only the best player in the world right now.
In the world. In the
Oh, yeah.
world, he said. He said in the world.
He
Okay.
is.
In the world.
I don't think that's even biased. That's just I mean, that's kind of more of a consensus thing at this point.
It's facts.
I just want you guys to know I wrote down your choices, and we'll talk about that like mid-season. All right, Jay.
I ranted already on the Father's
Was it
Day,
Father's
but
Day? Was that your
yeah,
rant?
we did it earlier. That was my
Oh,
yeah, my
man.
rant. My rant is that people need to get it together with the Father's Day thing. We're not an afterthought. Okay, I get it. Mom is king. We don't talk about fathers, all that type of stuff. But goodness gracious, can I at least go to the restaurant where there's a 5-hour wait? Make me feel like I'm at
That's the first time
least.
I've ever heard that.
It make me feel like they're like we missing out on something. We walked right in, sat down. You know, the restaurant didn't have any staffing available. That would not happen on Mother's Day. They would be calling people in, having them on standby. Man, we went there. Their oven wasn't working. We went to Joe's Crab Shack. It was like, oh, we can't do this. We can't. But the kids couldn't even get pizza because the oven wasn't working. That will never happen on Mother's Day. I'm sorry. It's just facts.
I'm surprised they were even open on Father's Day.
You know, my
It's
boys, they make like this whole big old, paper mache thing and just like this amazing craft for Mother's Day. And I get a colored card with outside of the lines coloring a shirt and tie. Gave me a cup. I got a cup with some York peppermint patties, and everybody knows that I don't like mint and chocolate together.
So it was for the boys, basically. Did they like York peppermint patties?
Yes,
Like,
my
here's
Jace, yeah, he
like-
took all of them.
That's a smart kid because he gave you a gift. It's not his fault that you weren't appreciative of it. So he'll just take it back and just like feast on it himself.
It's a smart gift.
The defensive one? Is that the defensive one? Is that the one that plays?
No,
defense?
that's the one that doesn't pass. That's my little one.
He doesn't pass. See, smart. He's smart. All right. I don't know that I have a rant, except I want to say that this Brittany Griner thing has got to end. They need to send her home. Like now our wife is saying she's not getting the calls, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know why she's there. And it really worries me that every time the times that she's gone into court, I've only seen her twice, that she doesn't look up. Like we haven't seen her face. We just see her dreads. So whoever is in charge of this needs to get on it and get her home. And also congratulations to Bird on her retirement, even though she's not retired yet, but she announced it, I guess, yesterday. But yeah, Brittany Griner, people don't forget about her. Don't forget that she's still a prisoner in Russia. And it's not like she's a prisoner in Club Med. It's Russia, for God's fucking sake. It's not.
Yeah.
The guy that came home even said it's deplorable conditions. Deplorable conditions. So don't.
It baffles
whoever's
me.
listening-
It absolutely baffles me that that's not a frontline story on every news broadcast
every day.
every single day.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
forget that she's a WNBA player or a celebrity or any of that. I mean, just the fact that they're holding an American
female?
hostage. Yeah. I mean,
in Russia.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, Roy
ridiculous.
Jones Jr. said he risked his own life to help her get out of there. So, I mean, he's not someone in a position of power that can actually affect that.
I know, and it seems that, and this is going way off stream, but the people in positions of power are worried about stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just bring her home. Just
I read recently that Russia's trying to treat it like a trade. Like
Right.
we have someone of theirs that.
Yeah.
But
It's like-
that's what's crazy is they're trying to like just hold off like a fellow citizen for someone that is like, I don't want to diminish who she is or what she's accomplished at all, but if we have someone that's done all these things and is associated with what they are, and then they're just holding someone that has the American, like the birth certificate of being from here and is a prominent figure in our society, not someone that's in control of the actual things in our government.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad. It's
Yeah.
just sad. They need to get on it right away and right now. And that's my rant. And I'm going to probably do it like, I don't know, a little bit every week until she comes home.
Amen.
Yeah. So next week is Kyle. I don't know who his guest is because he never tells me. And it's none of my business, I guess. But next week is Kyle at, I don't know what time. I think it's earlier than our time. So join us the week after next, which I don't have the date. If you will be so kind. Don't count on an 8 o'clock start. I'm just telling you now. Just save yourself time and just hop on at like 8:10, 8:15. We'll be there. We'll be there. You know, it's the technology nowadays, people. I'm not really good with it, obviously. And I'm in Twitter purgatory for something in my messages on my computer, not on my phone. Twitter, get it together. Thank you guys for staying around. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Jay. Jay, where can people find you? Because you never put your Twitter thing on there.
I'm in Twitter. You in Twitter purgatory. I'm in one step further than that. But yeah, I'm at jbank727 on Twitter. But
Do you want them to
can
find you on Facebook? Is that easier?
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook. I'm always on
what's your
Facebook.
What's your
Just my
Facebook
name, my boring name, Gerald Eubanks. My real name,
Oh,
Gerald Eubanks.
yeah, I was gonna say it's not Jay. People don't
No,
know
yeah.
that. So Gerald with a J.
Yeah, with the J.
Jarald Eubanks, EUBANKS on Facebook, and then you can like join him and join zombie leagues and whatever else he's in on there because there's a lot of football stuff going on his Facebook account. Zach, my friend, where can people find you?
On Twitter at the Big Pulowski. Otherwise, just a different show every day of the week. It feels like on Going for Two. You know, I'm popping around all over the place. I'm always on something. Yeah. No, I know we're doing more live stage events on the Discord server for Scott Fishbowl stuff. We're trying to cover all sorts of topics in that regard. I know we're planning to do a mock draft, I believe, this Sunday, because starting the following week is July 2nd, and that's the first start of drafts, which is mine. Woo.
Wow,
Wait,
draft season is coming up.
I know. You guys are drafting July 2nd?
Yep, July 2nd for the Chicago. Yeah.
I should probably look and see when our draft is. But I think I'm in a slow draft, so it doesn't matter.
I believe most of them start the week after, I want to say. I know Chicago's the first one. We do 10 rounds live, and honestly, I'm just scared about the drinking aspect. I don't drink a lot, and I met a few of the Chicago content creators already, and those guys throw them down. And, you know, I drink more attending their rookie draft than I usually do in a whole year. And that wasn't really that much. So this is going to be even more, and I'm scared for it.
See, this is my strategy when I draft, especially in my home league with all the boys. I don't drink and I don't smoke, and they do both. And I just like bring the stuff for them. I'm like, here, you guys. And they think I'm the greatest person. And then by the 5th round, they're like all stoned and all drunk. And I'm like, yes, I will take Tom Brady. Thank you. It's the best thing. You can find me on Twitter at Gladys L. Tyler. Also, if I get over there, I should have a Going for Two article coming out sometime this week on the undervalued running backs, and a Rotoballer article that should be out on surprises in the NFL draft and the players that are going to help and hurt your fantasy team. And then on Gridiron, I'm just doing an Arizona preview, which if you're an Arizona fan, you're probably not going to want to read it because it's not really flattering. I'm sorry. I have no confidence in Kyler Murray this year, or Hollywood Brown, or James Conner. So there you have
Maybe
it.
Isaiah Spiller will make a cameo in your undervalued running back.
Exactly. Well, you can count on Connor getting hurt because, you know, he does. That's what he does. In addition to, 15, 18 touchdowns, he gets hurt. So Isaiah's like just waiting in the wings, baby. Waiting in the wings. All right, you guys. Thank you for staying around. Thank you for joining us. We will talk to you in 2 weeks. We will see Kyle next week. You will see the guys tomorrow talking probably basketball and using a lot of F-bombs. And then Wednesday is Jeff's show. And then Bo has his hot takes. There's so much ongoing for 2. So just, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and you will get all the information that you ever need on any sport, anytime, anywhere. Thank you, guys. We will see you later. Bye. Bye, Jay. Bye, Zach. Thanks for being here.